Tonight on NewsVision, a crash on campus leaves 2 students injured and a lot of lingering questions. Plus, we'll take you to one on-campus event that's spinning awareness for a deadly disease. And later on, we'll introduce you to one musician who is rewriting the way music is written.
Music, rescued me.
From Orlando, Florida, a reporter for Spectrum News 13 and a 9-year-old girl were shot and killed yesterday. The 19-year-old shooter killed a woman earlier in the day. Hours later, the male reporter was covering the crime scene when the suspect returned, killed the reporter and his photographer. The shooter then went into a nearby house where he killed the girl and critically injured her mother. The gunman was charged with first-degree murder for the initial murder. Police say more charges will follow. Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of NewsVision. I'm Sophia Vitello.
And I'm Cal Friedman. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
First tonight, a car crash outside of the University Village on campus has left 2 students injured.
That's right, Thea. This crash happened a little over a week ago, and multiple reports can confirm one of the cars was driven by Miami Hurricanes running back Don Chaney Jr.
Reporter Daryl Barnes joins us live from the scene of the crash.
Daryl, can you tell us what happened?
Via Cal, this is the intersection of Albenga Avenue and Santa Mauro Drive, where the accident took place last Thursday that ultimately sent 2 UM students to the hospital. Now, what happened in the accident is both cars collided right here at the intersection. One bounced over to the median across the street, and the other barreled into the 2 pedestrians here on this sidewalk. Now, we have video of the aftermath from last week's accident, and we've confirmed that both students have been released from the hospital, one with a broken back, and this has raised student concerns about pedestrian safety after another student pedestrian was hit just over a year ago.
It's clearly an issue. It's clearly not a safe intersection. If even one student got hit or one car accident, 1, 2, 3 car accidents, it's too many.
Now, students like Jackson have considered this road a safety concern since 2005. According to a Miami Hurricane article, there have been 2 other student casualties on this exact road. About 3 blocks down in 2010, one student was hit and killed in an accident, and in 2015, another was hit at this exact same intersection. After that last accident, funding was approved to improve the safety of this road, but students say some students are now wondering if the university has done enough. From the University Village, Daryl Barnes, UMTV.
Daryl, thank you. A new series of eco-friendly city buses have hit the roads of Miami-Dade County. Since the beginning of this month, Miami-Dade County has released new battery-powered buses for service. The 40-foot buses made by electric vehicle manufacturer Proterra now make up nearly 10% of the county's city bus fleet.
They are amazing. They fast, swift, suitable for the passengers. And I can say that just it's good to keep everything up to date with, Miami-Dade Transit and Miami-Dade County.
Is expected to release 75 buses into service by the end of this year. The Florida Department of Environmental Protection gave the county $20 million for the project.
2 people are dead and 3 injured after a welding business burst into flames in West Miami Tuesday morning. The fire caused a semi-truck and several other cars to explode. It took firefighters an hour and a half to put out the flames. 2 of the 3 people injured are in critical condition. The cause of the fire and explosion is still under investigation. However, authorities say employees were working on heavy machinery just before the fire started.
And Florida residents may soon be able to carry weapons without a permit. The House Judiciary Committee backed a proposal on Tuesday that would combine the ability to carry firearms without license in an attempt to improve school safety. Considering the controversy surrounding easing weapons restrictions and increasing gun violence. But bill supporters say it will simply allow Floridians to carry their firearm without the red tape and expense of a government license. The Republican majority House committee voted 16-7 to approve the bill. It is expected to move on to the full House once the legislative session opens on March 7th.
This month, the University of Miami is celebrating the Black experience like no other. Last week, the Office of Academic Achievement hosted an event for the first time in 5 years. Reporter Mata Broadwater has the story.
Museums tell stories that are larger than life, and the Black History Mobile Museum is no exception. The exhibit was invited to UM to kick off the start of Black History Month. Founded by Dr. Khalid El-Hakim, the award-winning collection takes visitors on a journey through the transatlantic slave trade to modern-day Black liberation.
The idea that an artifact can bring stories out of people that wouldn't otherwise be shared is one of the reasons that motivates me to share this all across the country.
Dr. El-Hakim has spent 30 years searching through flea markets, auctions, and antique shops to find hidden relics. And today, he has a stockpile of over 10,000 items that tell stories from over 400 years of Black history. And this is not the first time the Mobile Museum came to UM.
I know our campus prides itself on diversity and diverse initiatives. I felt like the audience existed here. And beyond that particular group, this also felt like content that everybody should see and experience in some way.
After a long hiatus due to the pandemic, the museum returned to UM for the first time in 6 years.
I think it's so important, especially during Black History Month. It's one thing to know your history, but to see your history and evoking the emotions, seeing this stuff in person, just really bringing on a different meaning for me.
This year's exhibit focused on the 50-year milestone for hip-hop, with some of the material representing hip-hop's impact on many American social movements.
It's crazy to think about hip-hop being 50. I think it speaks to its legacy and its impact on society in a lot of ways.
Dr. El-Hakim says if there's one thing he wants students to take away from the exhibit, it's a hunger to learn more about Black history.
It's very important that people understand the value of these primary source material, these items, so that we make sure that Black history is not erased, and we make sure that Black history is something that's celebrated.
Program coordinators at UM say they hope to bring the museum back to campus for many years to come. Reporting for UMTV, I'm Maya Broadwater.
The state of Florida is no stranger to alligators, with more than 1 million of the sneaky reptiles in this state alone. Although alligator attacks are relatively uncommon, the everyday act of walking a dog turned out deadly for one woman in St. Lucie County. The 85-year-old was killed by an alligator on Monday. Witnesses say the woman was walking her dog when the alligator grabbed the dog. She tried to get the dog away when the alligator attacked her. The woman's body has been recovered. The dog survived. Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission was called to help.
FWC is in charge of the investigation. However, we assisted with our helicopter and manpower, and the alligator, which was close to 11 foot long, was trapped by an FWC trapper, and we assisted.
The alligator was removed from the property and later euthanized.
It's been almost 3 weeks since a Norfolk Southern train derailed, dumping toxic materials near the town of East Palestine in Ohio. The National Transportation Safety Board has now released a preliminary report on the incident. The report says an alarm alerted the Norfolk Southern crew that an overheating axle on the train has reached, quote, critical level. It's noted the engineer operating the train was already braking after seeing the alert and then applied additional brakes to stop the train. The NTSB says the train was traveling below the speed limit when 38 of the train cars derailed. That led to the release of toxic chemicals into the environment. EPA says Norfolk Southern will cover the costs of the derailment.
At any moment, if we have to step in because they refuse to do anything, we will do the cleaning up ourselves. We can fine them up to $70,000 a day. And when we recoup our total cost, we can charge them 3 times the amount of the cost of the federal government.
The president says he's satisfied with the federal response to train derailment. It is not known if Biden is planning to travel to visit East Palestine.
A short break now, but up next, we'll take you live to the lakeside patio for a special cycle session with reporter Charlie Hill. Don't go away.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
The Miami Dolphins 2023 Cancer Challenge at Hard Rock Stadium begins tomorrow, building towards the annual 5K run on Saturday. The Dolphins will host a 35-mile bike ride later this week, and tonight the Cancer Challenge is on campus. Joining us live at the Lakeside Patio, we have reporter Charlie Hill, who is live at Lakeside Patio to tell us what's going on. Charlie, looks like you're getting involved already.
Make sure you're not bouncing through my yellow tank. Cal, I'm here on Lakeside Patio joining Team Hurricanes participating in Cycle Set, an initiative by Dolphins Challenge Cancer. Now, DCC was founded in 2010 by the Miami Dolphins organization, and their main goal was to improve people's lives. So each session here today is about 20 minutes long, and as you can tell, we're listening to hit after hit after hit. But even though we're having so much fun, we're really here for an even greater cause. That cause is the donation from tonight's event will be given to Sylvester Center for Cancer Research to fund cancer research initially. So basically, each donation will get food, a t-shirt, and a raffle ticket. And somebody tonight will be going home with maybe a parking pass, Miami Dolphins gear, and so much more. But that's all the time I have here, and this is my jam, so I'm gonna get back to it, sending it back to you guys. I'm Charlie Hill reporting live for UMTV.
Charlie Hill, spectacular reporting. Thank you. Every year, hundreds of LGBT tennis players visit South Florida to participate in the Clay Court Classic. The nonprofit tournament is hosted by the South Florida Tennis Club in partnership with the Gay and Lesbian Tennis Alliance. The event is the largest LGBT tennis tournament in North America, with more than 350 players representing 27 different countries. Players compete in singles and doubles to win points and increase their ranking in the GLTA database. And while the Clay Court Classic brings high-level players to Fort Lauderdale, the tournament is really about bringing people together.
You'd be surprised how many friends you make. I'm actually going to a wedding in April for a couple of friends I met on this circuit.
This year, the tournament partnered with the World AIDS Museum to raise money to fight the AIDS epidemic. And this year's tournament raised over $7,000.
Students have launched an organization to make the university 100% renewable. It's called Clio, and its members met for the first time yesterday to discuss an action-packed agenda on climate change. This proposed schedule would hopefully open the door to a range of ideas they'd like to see implemented on campus, such as making all buses electric and demanding the university invests in renewable energy.
Really, the goal of this campus club at the time that I graduate is to build a huge movement of students who's confident enough to lead their elected officials, and for this movement to lead the way to true climate policy and climate solutions.
The first order of business for the club is for its members to travel to Tallahassee in March to speak with state lawmakers about renewable investments and energy reform.
Cal, I think it's really great that students are taking this initiative.
Absolutely. It's awesome to see the University of Miami taking this step forward into the future with renewable energy.
But speaking of climate, I'm really thinking about my tanning here. I mean, we haven't had a UV11 in a while, but this weather has not been hot enough for me. Meteorologist Charlotte Carl, please tell me, do I have good tanning weather? Am I going to be nice and brown?
I do have good news for you, Sophia. In our future, we have high 80s. We're talking next week early, we will be in the upper 80s. I can't believe I'm saying that already in February. But I wanted to highlight some of our temperatures across the nation right now. Here in Miami, we're at 78, but I wanted to point out this really intense cold front that we see that is coming across the southeast as we speak. Rapid City right now recording temperatures of -7 degrees, and along that front you can see there's this steep temperature gradient, 24 degrees in Kansas City and 61 degrees in Memphis. That's not headed our way, and we have cooled down nicely from our highs that were in the 80s today. Fort Myers sitting at 80 degrees, Fort Lauderdale 78, and us here in Miami also at 78. Again, I really wanted to highlight some of our high temperatures. All of us in South Florida were in the upper 80s. Our average for this time of year is 78 degrees, so we are significantly above average. Now, zooming out to take a look at our national radar, we have two low pressure systems that are dominating our nation's weather right now. We have this one that has that major cold front associated with it that has also brought some snow to the northwest, but we also have this low pressure system out here in California. And here is a closer look at your 7-day forecast. We have high temperatures in the upper 80s and no chances of rain, so definitely get out and enjoy that beautiful tanning weather.
Thank you, Charlotte. Time for another short break now on NewsVision. But when we return, Canes Hoops has been dominant this season. But were the Canes able to pick up another win and claim first place in the ACC? We'll have the highlights when we return.
Owen, let's talk for a second.
Hi, Ellen. Come on in.
When you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
It'll come to you.
It won't.
We had a lot to learn about each other. A lot. Hey, looks good. Things were changing so quickly.
Uh-oh.
We didn't know what the future would hold. Any of us. I just wish you felt more at home now. But we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I'm so proud to call you my son.
Hello and welcome to sports. I'm Wyatt Kopelman. Miami men's basketball traveled to Blacksburg, Virginia, riding a 7-game win streak. Let's go to Blacksburg, Virginia to see if the Canes could pick up another road victory. Take a look deep here in the second half. Second chance for Isaiah Wong. He knocks it down. He's been doing it for the duration of his Miami Hurricanes career. That gave Miami a 7-point lead, but Virginia Tech had plenty of answers. How about Sean Badula right down the lane for an and one off of Nigel Pack? Hokies staying within this one. This time it was Pack's turn, a soft finish off the backboard. The Kansas State transfer had 16 points and was one of 5 Miami scorers in double digits. This time it's Hunter Couture wide open. The sharpshooter knocks it down. Hokies within 3 folks, and it got interesting down the stretch. Miami went to North Chateaumere. The Arkansas State transfer had 17 points and 14 rebounds. He feasted in this one. Miami walked away with a 6-point victory and top place in the ACC after last night.
And yesterday was the first practice we had where we didn't have the energy that we normally do. And I was very concerned. And then we started the game that way. And I substituted right away for North Chateaumere. I took Isaiah Wong out very early, trying to get them to focus and play our game.
Now over to baseball. The Miami Hurricanes began their season with a loss at home on Friday, but bounced back to beat Penn State in the series in Game 3 on Sunday. Miami was behind 2-1 with 2 outs in the 9th inning until junior third baseman C.J. Kafis hit his first home run on the season off Penn State relief pitcher Stephen Miller. Miami also won its 2 midweek matchups against Stetson and Indiana State at Mark Light Field and will face Dartmouth in a 3-game series this weekend at home. Now moving from the ballpark to the skate park. Reporter Ryan Marshall visited Miami's largest skate park and joins us now live to tell us more in studio. Ryan?
More than 200,000 people reportedly drive on I-95 in Miami every day. But did you know there are some who skate underneath the highway? I visited Lot 11 to learn more about the park and the organization behind it. Underneath I-95 in Brickell is a skater's paradise. Lot 11 is a skate park that covers more than 38,000 square feet. In 2019, it was built by the Skate Free organization, and its co-founders Danny Fuenzalida and Nick Katz had one goal.
I think the greatest way to empower people in any sport is to give them a place to practice, and so I think placemaking became the real kind of mission and goal of Lot 11.
The park includes replicas of famous street skating spots from around the world, and skaters can use the park's ramps, rails, and ledges, as well as this large bowl in the center to practice their skills.
I wanted the park to be as well-rounded to kind of encompass all the different disciplines of skating, and there be something for everybody to skate.
But Lot 11 is not only a park where skaters can practice tricks. It's a place where skaters can be a part of a community and enjoy the culture of skateboarding.
So once you build a skate park, they all come together, and you're skating shoulder to shoulder with someone that you might never have met, and then you can become homies with them.
Every time I come here, I meet someone new. I even tell people that don't even skate to just come here and hang out. It's just it's a cool place to be at.
The Skate Free organization is committed to hosting free events for the skating community. This month, the organization held the Red Bull Drop-In Tour, which brought professional skaters from around the world to Miami. The event featured a Cash for Tricks contest where amateur skaters could compete alongside their idols. And as the skating community in Miami continues to grow, it's clear that Skate Free will be leading the charge.
I think by building a skate park that was more advanced than any kind of park that had been built in South Florida up to this point, I've seen the talent level rise and more talented skaters come out of Miami that are, you know, going to be able to go on to maybe compete at the Olympics or the X Games or the SLS.
Skate Free is committed to its goal of making Miami skateboarding more accessible. The organization is working with the Department of Transportation on the Underline project as they plan to build more skate parks underneath the Metro Rail. For UMTV, I'm Ryan Marshall.
Thank you, Ryan. And here on campus, more than 2,000 members of the UM community joined forces for a weekend of recreational sports and other activities. Daryl Barnes reports.
Yeah, let's go! Turn me up! They're not ready! They're not ready!
Sports Fest is the University of Miami's annual sports competition between its dorms. And for students like Mojanai Dennis, it's all about bringing home the bragging rights.
Listen, UV on top, don't sleep on us no more, we got something to say.
It started 37 years ago when Hecht and Stanford challenged each other to a set of games, a face-off between the former freshman dorms that would turn into a beloved tradition.
This year I didn't really see anyone getting overly emotional, but last Sports Fest people were crying, people were cheering, all that stuff.
The winning dorm would get to display the Sports Fest trophy until the next year's competition. And as years went on, Sports Fest expanded into a tradition that even residents of UM's newest dorms look forward to.
Everybody wants the trophy, everybody wants the bragging rights, and last year when we won, we got to jump in the fountain, which was pretty cool.
But this year, things were different. Hecht Residential College has the most Sports Fest wins of all time. But when it was torn down this summer, it opened the door for the traveling trophy to find a less likely home.
First place goes University Village. It's cooler to see some of the non-traditional places winning.
University Village's win almost didn't happen though. After scraping together the minimum amount of teammates for each of this year's 12 competitions, the UV pulled off a win only they could see coming.
We're small but mighty. We believed in each other and we know we could win. So we just kept cheering each other on and we just kept on going with that.
Sports Fest may be a battle between dorms, but it's also a competition that transforms each residence into a community.
See this right here? That's the
UV. The work we did.
For UMTV, I'm Daryl Barnes.
And still ahead on tonight's show, we'll introduce you to one man who uses an unconventional form of sheet music to teach others how to play instruments. His story and more when we return in just a moment.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving.
I definitely can't drive.
Okay.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
Thank you for staying with NewsVision. This weekend, the Coconut Grove community celebrated the 59th Annual Arts Festival. Since 1963, the festival has been a staple of the Bohemian neighborhood and celebrates hundreds of local, national, and even international artists. Held on McFarland Road, just steps away from Cocoa Walk, the event is one of the largest outdoor arts festivals in the nation.
It's a chance for the artists to actually interact with our patrons. So it's a much more personable event than something like Basel, which is wonderful. But this is a chance for you to meet the artists, talk to them, find out why they're doing what they do.
The event is hosted by the Coconut Grove Arts and Historical Association, a nonprofit charity that aims to inspire young artists and collectors to expand their artistic palette. Since the opening of the festival, hundreds of scholarships have been awarded to students who attend fine arts programs in local schools.
Mardi Gras took New Orleans by storm this last weekend, and UM's Commuter Council brought the fun event on campus for students to enjoy, free of charge. The University Commuter Council is an on-campus organization that hosts events and activities for student commuters. During its Mardi Gras event, students enjoyed music, games, and crafts. And of course, free food. And in true Louisiana spirits, beignets were also on the menu.
Pretty much, I love Commuter Council because not only do I get to work on myself and work on my experiences, but I also get to help other commuters feel welcome and make sure that we build a nice commuter community.
In case you missed out on this event, don't worry. This was only the first of many events taking place this spring semester.
And finally, Lighthouse School of the Blind teaches hundreds about the beauty of music and provides one teacher with a new purpose. Reporter Ainsley Vetter has the story.
Jin Ho Choi has been a musician most of his life. He started playing the piano and organ at 20 years old, and he credits music for everything.
Music is my life. Music, rescued me.
For years, Choi has been teaching aspiring musicians around the world how to read sheet music. But the sheet music he uses is not made up of written notes. It is called Braille music, a type of sheet music for the blind, a disability Choi has lived with since he was 20 years old.
When I first lost my sight, I was crying. I thought, so I don't think I will work again. But my mother encouraged me to go to school. Thus I went to the school for the blind.
Choi uses a tool called a slate and a stylus to write a series of code in cells of up to 6 dots that represent pitch, duration, and rhythm. What it does is it raises part of the paper up so that you can feel the notes and then play them here. Choi has been teaching his Braille music program at Miami Lighthouse for the Blind in Little Havana for more than 10 years. The program, called the Miami Lighthouse Music Program, is one of a kind and offered virtually to 30 students all over the world.
And it's designed for people who are visually impaired and blind of all ages.
Sisser says the organization is lucky to have Choi teach students.
Jin Choi is one of our best Braillists. He's a member of the Library of Congress, and he's really the one who put our distance Braille curriculum on the map.
And Choi's students are grateful for the opportunity to learn from him.
Every time I walk through these doors, it reminds me how blessed I am. And it's for guys like the doctor.
But Choi says it's the students who deserve all the credit.
I share my experience as well as my knowledge. Then they overcame their difficulties.
And at the end, it's all worth it.
Once you see that they've learned how to master the instrument, it's an unbelievable experience to watch them play it.
For UMTV, I'm Ainsley Vetter.
It's such a sweet story. I mean, I couldn't even imagine being blind, right? We take so many things for granted.
No, the inspiration that I took from that story is phenomenal. That's an unbelievable person. I'd love to be talking to him.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's insane. And I mean, to translate all that sheet music into Braille, it's a true feat.
I had my troubles actually learning the trumpet in middle school, so I'll just stop right there and admire this kind of opportunity.
Yeah.
I stopped playing trombone in elementary school, so you at least beat me there.
And that's it for this week's edition of NewsVision. Thank you for joining us.
We'll be back at this time next week. Have a great night and stay safe.